Hey everyone, welcome to another session provided to you by Rescue and Spark AR. My name is Tobias Mosart, but you can call me Toby, and today I will deliver a session about AR, VR, and 3D. So, as I told you, you can call me Toby. I am a Spark AR creator since 2019 and also a fourth year medical student. I usually work with AR for health, and I had a winning project on the last 2021 XR Hackathon by Meta. So to start this session, we will talk about AR and VR. I will share with you my concepts on those topics. So AR for me is when we use our reality to make a scene. So I can introduce to my world, our world, a 3D object, a 2D object, and it somehow interacts with the real world. So it can be an object on the ground, an object on my desk, an object on my face. So this is AR, that sort of an element of our real world. VR, on the other hand, is when we create a scene, a whole new scene, a whole new reality, and a whole new world. So VR doesn't use our real world to interact with the objects that we created for our scenes. To play with VR, to interact with VR experiences, I'm sure you know that we can use VR glasses, and I will recommend to you to use Oculus by Meta. There are VR glasses that allows us to use these VR experiences. AR, on the other hand, we will be talking here about the Spark AR, a free software, beginner friendly, so you can start creating AR experiences with the Spark AR for a lot of meta projects, such as Instagram, Facebook, Messenger, video calls. So let's talk about 3D. Whether you are working with AR or VR experiences, at some point of your developer career, you will need to use 3D models. And you can work with 3D models, I will say, in two ways. The first way is when you create your own models or create models for other clients, for other creators. And the other way is when you use and study free models that are available on the internet or even in communities, 3D communities such as Sketchfab. In the first way, when you create your own models, I would strongly recommend that you start your 3D modeling career with Blender. Blender is a free-to-use software, open source. It has a huge community that can help you start with the program, start remodeling, texturizing, rendering, sculpting, and you can find free YouTube tutorials that will guide you since the beginning to the expert level within the software. So Blender is a nice choice for those who are willing to start 3D modeling career. In the second way, you can use models that are available on the internet. For that, you can even search in Google, for example. You can search for glasses 3D free, and you will find 3D models of glasses for free for you to use on your AR effects. Or you can search in 3D communities or for free models, or even buy models from other 3D creators. And you can do this even within Spark AR, because Spark AR on our Spark AR library, you can find through Sketchfab a lot of 3D models. So it's a very easy way for those who are willing to start using 3D models on your projects, but they are not as confident to start beginning to create your own models. But I would strongly recommend that you take some time to take some virtual lessons, free tutorials on YouTube, because you can learn Blender very fast and progress and evolve on your career very fast as well. So let's talk about Blender first. So I'm here with Blender to share with you some tips. So because of the time, we cannot create a whole new 3D object to export it, import it in Spark AR and make an effect. So I will just share some tips about sizes, about rotation, about positioning, and how we can easily work with these 3D objects on Blender and make them ready to use on SparkAR. So here we have a mushroom cap that's not texturized yet, it's just a mesh. And right now I could export it and I could use it on my SparkAI projects, but I will not do it because I can import here as a FBX model my face mesh 3D object, that face mesh that we use on SparkAR. You can find this file on the SparkAR website, as I will show you here just a moment. On the SparkAR website, here is in Portuguese, but you can just search for SparkAR face assets on Google and you will find this website. On this website, they talk about how to use the face mesh, the face occluder, the head occluder, and here you can download on this link the face reference assets. So we will be using the face mesh asset here. They will come with the like this, so you will need to go to mesh and then face mesh FBX. FBX is a type of 3D file. I will talk about it very soon. So we will import in Blender the face mesh. When I import in Blender the face mesh, it is the correct size that it is in SparkAR. So as you can see, my mushroom cap is way bigger than the face mesh in SparkAR. So what I can do is select my 3D object. It can be anything that you are creating, and I will resize it in a way that it will not be bigger or smaller than my face mesh. So now using some keys, shortcuts here in Blender, I can really position it in a way that it will look good when I export it on for SparkAR. So here I think it is great. I will not use this cap on our tutorial, but just to show you how you can start creating objects for the face, for example. When you are creating glasses for your SparkAR effects, for example, you can start in Blender, importing the face mesh, and then building the glasses around this face mesh. So you don't need to resize it, rotate it. It will be ready to use in SparkAR. So this is the first tip. The second tip is that we have some sort of limitations about the sizing of our 3D objects that we create on Blender or other softwares on SparkAR, because let me show you the website. Here on SparkAR, we have documents about how to create 3D objects, how to export them to SparkAR. And here on the website, you can find some tips about sizes. So here it is in Portuguese, unfortunately, but you will find it on your language. So here on the website, we can find some documents about the size of the 3D objects. They say here that the mesh must be in about 50,000 triangles, in the maximum 150,000. So it's really important that you make sure that your 3D objects are not very big on the size, because it will surely affect the performance of your effect, and also the final size of it. So when you finish creating your 3D objects using the face reference assets, you can just delete them, and then they are ready to export to SparkAR. So when exporting your 3D models to Blender for SparkAR, you will see that there are a lot of file formats. So on the website, SparkAR team tells us that 3D models can be imported in SparkAR within the FBX format, GTLF, OBJ, and others. So here on Blender, when I export my file, I like to export it in a FBX format. So here, it's important that you don't need to select all these options. You just need the three last ones, and then you just export it in the FBX format. So, because of the time, we talk a little about Blender. I told you how to create this ready-to-use models for Spark AR, how to export it, the file formats, the size. So we will talk about the second way that you can use 3D models that is using free models available for us on Spark AR. So in the last part of this session, we will hands-on create an effect using Sketchfab in Spark AR. So here on Spark AR Studio, we will create an AR effect that uses a 3D model that is available on the Spark AR library. To start things off, I will select this post-processing filter template because with this template I can add some effects to my whole scene or even to some of my objects that will look very good. So we are back here in Spark AR Studio, and as you can see I'm on the post-processing filter template and it's already giving me some effects, so I will just turn off this glitch module here because I don't want to use it now. And the first thing that I usually do, I use render presses in all of my effects, and this template has render presses. So we will talk about it a little bit here too. So the first thing I do is creating a retouch, but because we are using render presses pipelines, we cannot extract our face to make a regular retouch as you are used to do. So here we have, clicking on the device, we have some options that the Spark AR team made available to us on the recent updates. So here we have the retouching render pass, retouching render pass pipeline. Sorry. So when we click here on create, the software will create for us a retouch pipeline. But you can see that we give this huge white circle in my face and some bugs. So this happens because my retouching pipeline, it must be connected to my device output, but the template already connected it with other stuff. So let me just fix this. Looking for my face retouching patch that the retouching render price just created. I will bring it closer to my device output. Let me just do it here. I believe it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. So here we have a shader render pass connected to my whole scene, that is this filter box here. And here I have my device output. What I can do to fix those problems is first making this face mesh, deleting this face mesh. Actually, I'm not going to use it. And here I can just put my texture of the whole scene on my retouching patch. So this will make this retouching patch just retouches my whole scene. And here I can just connect it here. So you can already see that in my face is not is using retouch right now. I don't know if you could see, but it is. And now we are going to really create our effects. So we talk about we just talk about VR. So let's search in the Spark AR library if we can find a VR glasses model. So we are here on the Spark AR library where you can find a lot of things. Be sure to check it. And here we have the 3D objects and that are provided to us by Spark AR and also by Sketchfab. So here we can search for VR glasses. VR glasses. We have a lot of 3D models available for us for free to use. So I will use this one. Here we have some information about vertices. Remember that we talk about vertices. It must be around or minus 50,000. And we just see some description here, the creator, and aqui the license. In here, the license. So I will import this model to my filter. Click on done. So as you can see, the VR glasses are here on our project. So one thing that I need to do is because these VR glasses go around our head, I will need a head occluder to occlude some parts of the 3D model. So here on the Spark AR, I will import a head occluder. This head occluder is available on the same website that I told you on the beginning of the Blender tutorial. So here on the face asset, you will click on mesh, and here you will have some the face mesh in different file types, and also the head occluder. So I will need the head occluder.fbx. As I told you, is the format that I most use on my project. So fbx, I have now my head occluder. So my head occluder, it has to move with my face. So I will put my head occluder on my face tracker. So my head occluder is already on my face tracker, but it should not be in the gray color. I will need to reduce its opacity first. Okay, so now I have my head occluder that is hiding because of the opacity, but it is here moving with my face and is ready to use. So now I need to put my VR glasses inside my head occluder. And as I told you, a lot of Sketchfab 3D models are not ready to use on Spark AR because they didn't resize it according to the face mesh as we did on the tutorial. So I will just resize these VR glasses in a point that I can use it on my face. I think that's okay. And I will just pause the screen to move it a little back and up. So I think it should be good. Let me see. I think it's good. Yeah, it's good. So now we are ready to customize this 3D model. So the first thing that I like to do is play with the textures. So if you go here on the assets, you will find the material of the 3D object, you will find the other materials, and you will find the textures. So let's see if we can play with the material and see what results we will get. So one thing that you need to look when you are working with 3D models is this color encoding. Sometimes it will be better to use RGB, and in others it will be better to use linear. So make sure you just change it to see what you like the most. So here I will just use RGB. Linear looks good as well, but I think RGB makes it more beautiful. So now I want to play with the textures of this 3D model. So we have here the textures of the glasses, we have some metallic rudeness, we have some normals, we have emissive textures of the lights. So the first thing that I want to do is to play with the glasses texture. So here I will come to my project file. In the project file, I will find the textures of this 3D object. This is the texture that I want to play with. So I will open it with Photoshop. So here we are on Photoshop with the texture of the 3D model, and this is a very good way to try to study how texturizing 3D models looks like. So it's a square, let me say it this way, a square with a UV map that we can see here, but the texture is drawn on top of the UV map, and then when the 3D models receive that information, we will see the 3D models with the colors, with the drawings, with everything. So here we are going just to edit this front part of the VR glasses. As you see here, this is the part that I'm editing, this one. And here I just want to erase the symbol. So let me just that. So with Photoshop, I just customized the VR glasses texture and added the SparkAR and Rescue logo. So now we have VR glasses with sort of the theme of our session. So what we can do is customize these VR glasses a little more. So on the SpecAR library, we can find a lot of things, including patch assets. So within the patch assets, we can find the shader patches. So for this effect, we will use the Adjust Color Shader patch. You just click on Import Free. Then let's go back to our effect. And here, you will have the patch. So with this patch, we can customize a lot of things on the texture of our 3D model. So here, I want this 3D model to have a lot of color and changing colors. So I will go back to the material and I will find that the emission and the texture itself can be modified with this patch. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna click on this arrow that will get my emission here. And I will need the emission texture, that is this one. So I will drag it here. I will connect this input to the texture and then this output here. So my emission is giving this texture to the material. But I just put this patch on the between them, so it allows me to edit some values and change things. So right now we'll create a loop animation. This loop animation, I need to connect it to a transition. And with this transition, I want the hue to move to 0 to 1 in some sort of time. So for that, I don't need a vector 3 patch. I just need a number patch because I need it to go to 0 to 1 in, let me say, 2.5 seconds. So when I connect this to the hue, you will see that the lights on the VR glasses will change. I don't know if you can see, but the lights are changing, the lights of the emissive texture. To play a little more with it, I will just increase the saturation so you can see the colors a lot more colorful, and I think it's already looking good. But I want to apply the same effect to the other parts of the VR glasses. As you can see, this part here, they are blue, but I want them to change the colors as well. So for that, I will just repeat the same process. So I will go to the material of the VR glasses, and now I want to change the texture. So I will drag the texture here, the output of the texture actually, and I will drag the texture itself here. So with the texture itself here, I just need to add another Adjust Color Shader patch. With this patch, I will connect the texture, I will connect the output, and I will just drag these transitions that I made early here to the hue as well. So and I will increase the saturation to 1 as well. So here, when we go back, you will see that the colors are changing. So now it's already looking good. You have a 3D effect that you find the object on the SparkAR library. You edit the texture with the SparkAR logo, with the Rescue logo. You change the colors of the textures, but you can add a little more things. So what I'm gonna do here is play with render passes, adding a glow effect to my VR glasses. So for that, I just need to find my device output, that is this one. And I will need to do some render passes stuff. So let's start. What I want to do is to drag my head occluder here. My head occluder is connected with the VR glasses and with the head occluder mesh object that is occluding the other parts of the VR glasses on my ears and around my head. So I need the VR glasses to be rendered in my render pass pipeline. So for that, I will create a scene render pass. Let me just pause here because it is already buggy, because Let me just zoom a little bit. Here, it just connects to the background, but you need to connect it to the scene object. But let me pause because I think it will lag a bit. Okay, so here we have our head occluder object that was dragged here. We create a scene render press, and it's important to, in the default color of the background, to put the alpha channel on 0. So with the alpha channel on 0, and you click on the little arrow, you will see that it is rendering our VR glasses. So here, I will just add a blur patch. For that, first I need to go to the library. On the library, I just need to search for blur and download the blur patch. Import free. Okay, now I have my blur patch here. With my blur patch, it will just say an error, but you just need to connect the scene that you just rendered to the texture. So this texture, I will blur it on an amount of 0.5. So here I have my whole scene, and I have my VR glasses rendered and blurred with this patch. So now I need to blend these two scenes in just one. So I will need the source of the blend patch to be connected to the blur, and the destination, that is where I want to put these VR glasses on top of, connected to my whole scene. And then I will connect it to my device. You can see that it's blurred. Let me just change here so you can see. So when I'm not connected with the blur, you can see the CreatAR logo, you can see the rescue, but when I connect the blur with the scene, you will see that it's a little blurred, even the CreatAR logo and the rescue logo. But I just want to change this blend mode of my blend patch to add. When I do this, you can already see that we got some glow effects on the 3D object. So it's looking already so much better since when we begin this project. And now we have a VR glasses that is changing its color, that have the CreatAR logo, the rescue logo. But I think that these colors are too saturated, so I will just put this on 0.5, and let me see if it's okay. I think it is good. You can invert it if you want it as well, but we are not going to do this. And other things that you can do on CreatAR, when you are working, you will see that sometimes you will just change things and other things will appear. You will get different effects. So feel free to really play with the patch editor, change things, change values until you see what you're really looking for. So here you can play with all these blend modes. For example, if you play Divide, it will give us another cool effect on the VR glasses itself. So it's already looking good. I like this one, but I will leave it on add so we can see the VR glasses better. So now that we have our VR glasses, I will just finish this project editing with the post-processing filter template that we started the filter with. So here we have a lot of options of effects, and what I like to do is use the fish eye effect and the TV effects. So here I would just click here to adjust the TV. It's already a little shaky. So I like to put the fish eye a little bit behind 0, like that, because it will just leave our glow a little more edgy, let me say that. And now I will just play with this value, so you can play as you want. Right now I'm already liking it, but you can play as you want. You can find symbols here as well on the post-processing filter. I don't think, let me add some glow maybe. Saturation, it's okay. Contrast, let me see. Okay, a little bit of contrast. You can add a vignette, but I won't because it takes so much processing of the filter, so be careful with these post-processing effects. You can add grains. You can also add a glitch. But this glitch is too much. Let me just reduce it. The chroma, glitch amount here. It's kind of low, but I don't think it matches with the effect, so I will turn it off. Okay, do you think? Yeah, I think it's that. I think yeah, I like the end of our project. So everyone, we got to the end of the session. I hope you really understand that you as a AR or VR developer need to understand how to work with 3D models. We learn how to start creating with Blender, how to optimize your project, how to export it, how to resize it. We also learn how to find 3D models for free on the internet or even within the Spark AR library through Sketchfab. So bye everyone. You can find me on my Instagram at Toby Mosart, and I'm available to answering all of your questions.